I spent most of my early 20s doing stupid urban exploration with my friend Tyler, just exploring forgotten places because they made the world feel bigger than the routines we were stuck in. We'd done rooftops, old factories, a few drainage canals, but nothing truly dangerous. At least that's what I used to believe. One night, Tyler showed me a post about the deepest accessible storm drain entrance on the east side of Los Angeles. It wasn't a secret exactly, but it wasn't somewhere the city wanted people wandering around. The post mentioned steep spillways, old maintenance passages, and something about the drop, which wasn't explained, but people in the comments seemed to understand. I told him it sounded like a bad idea. He told me to relax. People went down there all the time. The truth was, I said yes because I hated feeling like the cautious one. I didn't want him to see me as scared. I didn't want to see myself that way either. We drove out just before midnight and parked a few blocks from the access point. The neighborhood was quiet, mostly warehouses, the kind of place where a wrong turn makes you feel like you shouldn't be there. We hopped a concrete barrier and followed a sloping runoff channel until the world narrowed into a dark opening ahead of us. The kind of tunnel shaped like a giant mouth, black and wide enough to swallow a car. I remember the exact moment the air changed. Outside, you could still smell the city. Warm asphalt, distant traffic, even old trash in the gutters. But a few steps inside the tunnel, and everything shifted into a cold, stale dampness that felt heavier with every breath. The beam of my flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing graffiti that went back decades, layered on top of each other, until you couldn't tell where one generation stopped and another started. "See," Tyler said, "it's basically a hallway." But it wasn't a hallway. It was an artery, one that didn't feel empty, even though we hadn't heard a single sound besides our own footsteps. The tunnel swallowed every bit of noise we made. About 20 minutes in, the tunnel widened into a massive junction chamber with 4 other tunnels feeding into it. Our lights never reached the ends of them, and for a second, I felt something tight coil in my stomach, like the space was tilting, and all that darkness was leaning toward us. "This way," Tyler said, pointing to the second opening on the left. "Why that one?" I asked. "It matches the map." He had a map, a poorly drawn diagram from some forum that looked more like someone's memory than an actual layout. But I followed him because I didn't want to argue inside a place that felt like it was listening. The new tunnel sloped downward gradually, and the deeper we went, the more the walls changed. Concrete gave way to older, darker stone. The air smelled different too, less like water, more like metal, and something sour underneath it. We walked for what felt like forever, and I kept glancing behind us even though I didn't hear anything. I don't know when I became aware of the idea that we weren't alone. It wasn't a sound, not at first. Just the sense that the tunnel wasn't as empty as it looked. The same feeling you get when someone is standing behind you, even if you haven't heard them move. At one point, Tyler stopped abruptly. "You hear that?" I froze. At first, I didn't hear anything, but after a few seconds, a faint echo floated through the tunnel, a drip, repeating at uneven intervals. "It's just water," I said, even though I wasn't convinced. We kept going until the beam of my flashlight caught something on the wall ahead. Scratches, dozens of them, long grooves carved into the stone, dragged downward in uneven trembling lines. Some were shallow, some deep enough to cast their own shadows. Animals, Tyler said, but he didn't sound like he believed it. Animals don't scratch concrete, I said quietly. We didn't talk after that. A few minutes later, we reached a fork, one tunnel sloping downward sharply, the other flattening out. The map didn't show this at all. Tyler hesitated. This has to be wrong, he said. I don't remember anyone mentioning a split. The dripping sound started again, but closer this time, and it sped up. Not like water, more like something hitting the ground and scattering. I don't want to go farther, I said. Something's off. We just need to check the drop, he insisted. He pointed his light down the steeper tunnel and took a few steps forward. The light cut across something on the floor, a long, pale shape. He moved closer. Tyler stepped back immediately. Okay, he said, voice thin. We're done. Let's go. But when we turned around, the tunnel felt different. The air felt heavier, thicker, like whatever space had been behind us had shrunk, pushing the walls inward. I started walking faster than necessary, the beam of my flashlight shaking slightly. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, matching the rhythm of ours, but just slightly behind. Close enough that the echo didn't hide it. I turned my light back, expecting to see someone. A homeless person, a security guard, anyone. But the beam hit nothing but empty tunnel. Go, I whispered, and we both quickened our pace. The footsteps quickened too. Every instinct in my body told me not to look back again, but the pressure between my shoulder blades made it impossible not to. When I turned the light backward, the tunnel behind us was still empty, but I felt something shift in the air, like the dark itself had leaned toward the light before retreating. We walked faster. The footsteps followed faster. When the junction chamber finally came back into view, I felt a rush of relief so intense it made my knees weak for a moment. But even the open space didn't feel safe. It felt worse, like the sound had room to move. We need to pick the right tunnel, Tyler said. We came from... But he stopped talking, because the chalk mark we'd made on the wall earlier, the line to mark the entrance we'd taken, was gone, like the wall had been scrubbed. Cold panic spread through my chest. That's impossible, Tyler whispered. Before I could answer, something moved in one of the tunnels, like something pulling back quickly out of sight. I turned my light toward it. There was nothing. Nothing except another sound. I am not sure what it was, but I think I heard breathing. Low, steady, coming from somewhere deep in the chamber, but the echo twisted it until it felt like the sound was coming from everywhere at once. I grabbed Tyler's arm. Pick one. Now. We chose the one that felt closest to the entrance. That was the only logic we had left. We ran, our footsteps echoing like gunshots against the concrete. The breathing faded behind us, but the tunnel didn't feel safer. It felt tighter, like the walls were bending inward toward each other. When we finally saw the faint glow of moonlight ahead, my throat locked up in relief. We didn't slow down, not until we were out, climbing that slope, gasping in the open air, like we'd been underwater. We didn't talk until we got back to the car, and even then, we didn't tell the story correctly. We never mentioned the breathing, or the erased marking, or how something had followed us without ever showing itself. All we said was that we got lost. But the thing about that night that still gets to me, The thing that sits in my mind whenever I think about going exploring again is that final sound we heard just before we left the tunnel completely. A single faint sound came from deep inside the drain. It sounded like someone shifting their weight on concrete. That slow, gritty pressure you only hear when a boot twists against the floor. That was the moment we both understood something simple and terrifying. We hadn't been alone in that tunnel. Whoever, or whatever, was down there had stopped moving and was now standing still in the dark, listening to us. Thanks for watching No Sleep Tonight. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It truly helps this channel grow. If you want more unsettling stories, there are 2 more waiting for you on the screen right now. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, sleep well.